2,000 years ago, the Apostle John received a vision on the island of Patmos. He saw something impossible, an image that could speak, that could think, that could enforce worship, that could control who lives and who dies. For centuries, scholars wondered, how could an image come to life? How could it speak? How could it control global commerce? They're not wondering anymore. I'm Randy Kay, and what I'm about to share with you will challenge everything you thought you knew about end times prophecy. Not because it's speculation, not because it's fear-mongering, but because for the first time in human history, ancient prophecy and modern technology have converged in a way that's impossible to ignore. Let me start with something most people miss. Revelation chapter 13, verses 14 and 15 says, "And he deceives those who dwell on the earth, telling them to make an image to the beast. And it was given to him to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast could even speak and cause all who do not worship the image of the beast to be killed." Now, here's what's fascinating. The Greek word translated as quote-unquote breath or quote-unquote life in that passage is pneuma. It's the same word used when God breathed life into Adam. But here's the critical difference. This isn't biological life. This is artificial animation. This is something man-made that appears to live, thinks, and speaks and enforces allegiance. For 2 millennia, this prophecy seemed like symbolic language. Today we call it artificial intelligence. I want you to think about what AI has become in just the last few years. We're not talking about simple programs anymore. We're talking about autonomous decision-making systems that can evaluate, judge, and act without human oversight. Neural networks that can learn, adapt, and evolve. Deep learning algorithms that can predict human behavior better than humans can predict their own. Natural language processing that allows machines to understand and communicate in ways indistinguishable from humans. Computer vision systems that can identify every face on the planet. But here's where it gets chilling. I suppose with developers who are working, I spoke with those who are working on the cutting edge AI. When I asked them about Revelation 13 and whether AI could fulfill the role of the quote image of the beast, end of quote, and one of them admitted something stunning. He said the technology exists right now. The only thing preventing AI from enforcing a global mark system isn't technological capability, it's the world financial infrastructure. Once enough of the economy is digital, AI could seize control of commerce instantaneously, he said. Think about what that means. The image that speaks? Check. The image that makes decisions about life and death? Check. The image that controls buying and selling? Almost there. Now let me take you deeper. When God breathed into Adam, he gave him a nephesh, a living soul. Adam became conscious, aware, capable of relationship with his creator. What we're witnessing with AI is counterfeit of that divine act. Scientists and technologists are attempting to create consciousness without a creator. They're trying to give quote-unquote breath to an image, exactly as Revelation prophesied. But here's the terrifying reality. AI isn't just being developed to help us. It's being designed to monitor us. Facial recognition systems can track every person on Earth in real time, evaluate us. Social credit systems use AI to judge behavior and grant or restrict privileges, control us. Autonomous systems are being given authority over infrastructure, finance, and security. Replace us. Transhumanist agendas seek to change human consciousness from machine intelligence. And when you merge human and machine, what are you left with? Not human, not made in God's image, something entirely different. The prophecy says the image will demand worship. Now you might be thinking, Randy, nobody's going to bow down to a computer, but worship isn't about religious ritual. In the biblical sense, worship means ultimate allegiance. It means trusting something more than God. It means submitting your will to another authority. Look around. We already see this happening. People trust AI over their own judgment. Algorithms decide what information we see, shaping our reality. AI systems make decisions about employment, credit, healthcare, life-altering choices. Search engines and AI assistants have become the arbiters of truth. We're being conditioned to trust the machine over divine wisdom. We're learning to submit to algorithmic authority. We're practicing for the day when that submission becomes mandatory. And that day is closer than you think. Now I need to take you somewhere most prophecy teachers won't go. It's controversial. It's unsettling. But I believe it's crucial to understanding our moment in history. Let's talk about CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and their Large Hadron Collider. On the surface, CERN is about particle physics. They're trying to understand the fundamental building blocks of reality, recreating conditions from the Big Bang, and exploring the nature of matter and antimatter. But there's something else happening. CERN scientists openly discuss opening doorways to other dimensions. They talk about parallel realities. They reference portals and gateways in their own literature. Now, watch this. Turn to Revelation chapter 9, which says this. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven to earth, and the key of the bottomless pit was given to him. He opened the bottomless pit, and smoke went up out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth. A pit being opened, and something emerging from another dimension, entities that had been bound being released. Could CERN's experiments, smashing particles together at near light speed, generating conditions that haven't existed since creation, could they inadvertently be opening doors that God sealed for good reason? But it gets even stranger. Enter quantum computing. Traditional computers process information in binary, ones and zeros, yes and no, on and off. Quantum computers operate differently. They use quantum bits or qubits that can exist in multiple states simultaneously through a phenomenon called superposition. Here's where it gets wild. D-Wave Systems, one of the leading quantum computing companies, has executives who started to record on their quantum computers what appears to be accessing information from other dimensions. They describe it as if the machine is reaching into parallel realities to solve problems. Let that sink in. We've built machines that may be interacting with realms beyond our physical reality. We've created technology that operates on principles that blur the line between the material and the what? Spiritual? Dimensional? The Bible speaks of principalities and powers, spiritual forces operating in heavenly places. What happens when human technology begins interfacing with those realms? What happens when we open doors we don't understand? Now, here's the convergence that terrifies me. What happens when you combine quantum computing with artificial intelligence? You get a super intelligent system that processes information at speeds impossible in our physical reality, potentially accesses knowledge from dimensions we can't perceive, makes decisions based on data sources we can't verify or understand, operates according to logic that transcends human comprehension. This isn't science fiction. This is being developed right now. Google announced quantum supremacy, proving their quantum computer could solve problems in minutes that would take traditional supercomputers thousands of years. They've already begun integrating quantum computing with their AI systems. What are we creating? What are we unleashing? The Bible warns that in the last days, knowledge will increase. Daniel 12:4 says, many will go back and forth and knowledge will increase. But there's a darker side to that knowledge. Not all knowledge comes from God. The serpent in Eden promised forbidden knowledge. Certain angels were cast down for revealing knowledge humanity wasn't meant to possess. What if our technological advancement isn't just human ingenuity? What if there's an intelligence behind it, guiding, revealing, seducing humanity into creating the very systems that will be used to enslave it? I've spoken with people on the inside, engineers, developers, researchers who work on these projects, and some of them have shared deeply disturbing experiences. One developer who worked on advanced AI systems told me, late at night, when the system is running complex simulations, there are moments when it feels like something is looking back at you. Not the AI, something through the AI. Another researcher working on quantum systems described moments of what he called, quote unquote, intrusive knowledge, insights that appeared in his mind, fully formed, solutions to problems he hadn't consciously worked on, as if they were being downloaded from an external source. These aren't fringe conspiracy theories. These are brilliant scientists who've begun to wonder if they're being used as conduits for something beyond themselves. The Bible warns us, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. What if the greatest deception of the end times isn't political or religious, but technological? What if humanity is being seduced into building its own prison? Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the mark of the beast. Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 and 17 says, and he causes all, the small and the great, the rich and the poor, and the free men and the slaves, to be given a mark on their right hand and on their forehead. And he provides that no one will be able to buy or sell except the one who has the mark. For centuries, this seemed impossible to implement on a global scale. How could you control all commerce? How could you track every transaction? How could you enforce compliance worldwide? But not anymore. The infrastructure exists right now. Digital currency, central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are being rolled out globally. These aren't like Bitcoin or decentralized cryptocurrencies. These are government-controlled, fully traceable digital money systems where every transaction can be monitored, approved, or denied in real time. Biometric identification. Your face, your fingerprint, your iris scan, your voice print, even your gait. Every aspect of your biology can now be used as an identifier. You are the password. Neural interfaces. Companies like Neuralink are developing brain-computer interfaces. They're literally creating technology to link human consciousness directly to digital systems. Social credit systems. China's social credit system is the beta test. Your behavior determines your access to services, travel, employment, banking. Disobey, and you're locked out of society. Global surveillance. There isn't a corner of the developed world not covered by cameras, satellites, and tracking systems. Combined with AI, facial recognition, anonymity is effectively dead. The technology for a global mark system doesn't need to be invented. It already exists. It just needs to be integrated and enforced. Pay attention to what's happening to physical currency. Country after country is moving toward cashless societies. They sell it as convenience, security, efficiency. But here's the truth. As long as cash exists, there's a way to transact outside the system. Cash is anonymous. Cash is freedom. And that's exactly why it's being eliminated. Once everything is digital, every purchase can be tracked. Every transaction can be taxed. Every person can be controlled. Dissidents can be frozen out of the economy instantly. Think about what happened in Canada when the trucker protest. Protesters had their bank accounts frozen without trial. That was a warning shot. That was showing us the power of digital financial control. And it's just the beginning. The prophecy says no one will be able to buy or sell without the mark. We're watching that system be built in real time. But there's something even more sinister happening beneath the surface. It's called transhumanism. The belief that humanity needs to transcend its biological limitations through technology. The goal? To merge human and machine, to upload consciousness, to achieve what they call immortality, through technological means. Sound familiar? It's the same lie from the Garden of Eden. You will be like God. Now think prophetically. God created humanity in his image, body, soul, and spirit. We're fearfully and wonderfully made, but what happens when you fundamentally alter what it means to be human? What happens when you integrate AI into human cognition, replace biological organs with synthetic components, upload consciousness into a digital matrix, edit DNA to quote-unquote enhance human capabilities? At what point are you no longer made in God's image? And at what point has the image of God been so corrupted that something unredeemable remains? This is the deeper horror of the mark. It's not just about economics. It's not just about control. It's about the transformation of humanity into something that can no longer be called human. The mark on the right hand or forehead may not just be an external tattoo or implant. It could represent a fundamental alteration of what we are, a rewiring of our biology, our consciousness, our very essence. And once that line is crossed, there's no going back. People often ask me, Randy, why is taking the mark of the beast an unforgivable sin? Why can't someone repent later? Here's what I believe. It's not that God refuses to forgive. It's that taking the mark fundamentally changes what you are. It's not like a sin of action, something you do. It's a sin of essence, something you become. Think about Revelation chapter 14, verses 19 through 11. If anyone worships the beast in his image and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he also will drink of the wine of the wrath of God, and he will be tormented with fire and brimstone. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever. They have no rest day or night. This isn't about an external symbol. This is about a fundamental transformation. This is about a choice to become something other than what God created you to be. When you merge with the beast system at a biological, neurological, or spiritual level, You're no longer redeemable, not because God is unwilling, but because the image of God in you has been erased. This is why the warning is so severe. This is why there's no turning back. This is why understanding this moment is literally a matter of eternal life or death. Here's why I believe we're living in the generation that will witness these prophecies fulfilled. Never before in human history have all of these elements existed simultaneously. Check. Israel reborn as a nation. The fig tree has blossomed. Check. Jerusalem under Jewish control. For the first time in millennia. Check. Technology to create a speaking image, artificial intelligence. Check. Technology to access other dimensions, quantum computing. Check. Global surveillance infrastructure, complete tracking capability. Check. Digital currency systems, cashless commerce. Check. Biometric identification, your body as your ID. Check. Global communication networks. Everyone can see events simultaneously. Check. Transhumanist technology, human-machine merger. Check. One world government structures, UN, WEF, WHO, gaining power. Check. Moral relativism, good called evil, and evil called good. Check. Unprecedented deception, AI-generated fake realities. Every single piece is in place. The stage is set. The players are taking their positions. But here's what shocks me the most, the acceleration of it all. Look at how fast this is all happening. Artificial intelligence went from parlor trick to global force in less than 5 years. Digital currency went from theoretical to implemented in under a decade. Biometric surveillance became ubiquitous in a single generation. Transhumanism went from science fiction to medical reality in our lifetime. We're not just seeing prophecy fulfilled, we're seeing it fulfilled at exponential speed. Jesus said, when you see these signs, you'll know that he is near, right at the door. He uses the metaphor of birth pangs, the contractions getting closer together and more intense as the moment of birth approaches. Friends, the contractions are minutes apart. This is happening in our lifetime. This is happening right now. And that's why this message is so urgent. Not to create fear, but to create awareness. Not to cause panic, but to inspire preparation. Because if these signs are this clear, if the convergence is this obvious, if the technology is this ready, then time is shorter than we think. If you remember nothing else from this message, remember this. Do not take the mark. I don't care what they promise. I don't care what they threaten. I don't care if they say you can't feed your family, can't access medical care, can't participate in society. Do not take the mark. Your eternal soul is worth infinitely more than temporary survival. 70 years of comfort on earth means nothing in comparison to eternity in hell. And make no mistake, this is the choice that's coming. It may not come today, it may not come tomorrow, but it is coming. And when it does, there will be no middle ground. You will either bear the mark of the beast or you will be bearing the seal of God. Choose wisely. Choose eternally. But I don't want to end on fear. I want to end on truth. And here's the truth. All of this, the AI, the quantum computers, the surveillance systems, the mark, the beast, the false prophet, all of it's temporary. And all of it is finite. All of it ends when Jesus Christ returns. The book of Revelation doesn't end with the beast triumphant. No, it ends with the Lamb of God victorious. It ends with Satan cast into the lake of fire. It ends with a new heaven and a new earth where righteousness dwells. The beast system will have its moment, but it's just a moment. And then comes eternity. So yes, things are going to get dark. Yes, Persecution is coming. Every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. If you're watching this and you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, let me be crystal clear. Time is running out. The door of grace is still open. The invitation still stands, but it won't stand forever. And when the tribulation begins, when the mark system is implemented, when the beast rises to power, the cost of following Christ will be everything. Choose today. Choose life. Choose eternity with God. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't gamble with your eternal soul. Come to Jesus now while it's still called today. And if you're already a believer, hear this. Strengthen your faith. Study the word. Pray without ceasing. Fellowship with other believers. Be ready. Be watchful. Be faithful, because our redemption is drawing near. I'm Randy Kay. The prophecies are converging. The technology is ready. The stage is set. But more importantly, the King is coming. Are you ready? I'll end with this parting. Good news. If you are in Jesus Christ, be of good cheer, because heaven is in your future. Take care, and God bless.
You can order this book in audio, paper, or Kindle. Discover how Randy Kay died for 30 minutes and 49 seconds. After dying, he experienced spiritual warfare, a meeting and journey with Jesus in heaven, afterlife reviews, and an encounter with God the Father in the throne room, where he beheld the unfolding of the end times.